Here we go. Join me today for the final episode of my top 25 horror adaptations, the 5 best films based on literature. These will scare your pants off. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Jim, the father of this father son show, Fantasy for the Ages. Glad you found this episode as I've been counting down or counting up the top 25 horror movies and TV shows that are actually adaptations of literature. Some of these you may not have realized came from books, novellas, short stories, comic series. So I hope I'm inspiring some of you to go check out the source material. There's probably movies I have been mentioning in this series that you've never heard of. I hope you'll go check those out too. Every one of these movies is worthy, so long as you don't mind a good scare. I've saved the best for last, my top 5, and I'm excited to share them with you. But I'm going to ask right now, consider giving us a like. You can take it off later if you don't like the episode, but it's, easy to forget by the time you're done. We do also invite you to subscribe to the channel. We just love sharing all this content with people. We've got all sorts of fantasy, science fiction, horror, other nerdy things that we're talking about on various episodes. Take a look. We think you'll like what you see. All right, let's get to this list. 5 great movies. These are all absolutely epic. I'll start with number 5, The Shining, the 1980 movie adaptation of Stephen King's book by the same name, which came out in 1977, one of his first books. Jack Torrance, an aspiring writer, takes a job as the winter caretaker of the isolated Overlook Hotel. Isolated meaning you will be cut off by the weather at some point. And while there, with his family, son, wife, he gradually descends into madness as malevolent supernatural forces influence him. Add to it that his son, Danny, possesses psychic abilities, and he begins to see terrifying visions. Stanley Kubrick directed this, and he did so masterfully. You can look up information on it. He was actually pretty overboard pulling this off, but it turned into an amazing film. Stephen King doesn't like it, but I think it's awesome. Combine his direction with Jack Nicholson's terrifying performance as the writer losing his mind, and then this film's unsettling atmosphere. Oh man, it makes for a haunting psychological horror masterpiece. Speaking of masterpieces, number 4 is Psycho, the 1960 movie adaptation of the book Psycho by Robert Bloch, which came out in 1959. Here we've got a secretary who embezzles money and takes off. She's just heading out of town. And she drives and drives and drives. Finally, can't go much further. She pulls off at a secluded motel where she thinks she'll be safe to hide out for a little while. Unfortunately, she meets the disturbed Norman Bates, proprietor of this Bates Motel, where some dark secrets unfold. The infamous shower scene and the psychological twists elevate this film to absolute classic status. Alfred Hitchcock's groundbreaking use of suspense and shocking narrative twists make this one of the most influential horror films of all time. Also, it's the first film to show a toilet flushing. Who knew? Number 3, It. I'm referring to the duology that came out in 2017 and then 2019. These are adaptations of the book It by Stephen King, which was published in 1986. There was a previous adaptation that was a mini-series on TV. I thoroughly enjoyed that, but the movies that came out later, far more terrifying. Here we've got a group of children in Derry, Maine, being terrorized by a shape-shifting entity that often takes the form of a clown named Pennywise. And people have been terrified of clowns ever since. Okay, that's not true. There were plenty of kids already terrified of clowns, and Stephen King makes Pennywise? Ay, ay, ay. Now, as adults, these kids come back to their hometown to face this creature once again because they thought they dealt with it as kids, but I'm back. Bill Skarsgård portrays Pennywise in these adaptations. And he's just exceptionally performing this, bringing this creature to life. Add to that the emotionally resonant exploration of childhood fears, and you've got an adaptation that's both terrifying and heartwarming. Number two, one of the scariest movies I think I've ever seen, The Ring from 2002. This is based on the book The Ring by Koji Suzuki from 1991. Here we've got a journalist investigating a mysterious videotape that is rumored to kill anyone who watches it within 7 days. As the journalist races to unravel the tape's origins, she faces increasing supernatural threats. This movie's eerie atmosphere, combined with the slow buildup of terror and the iconic cursed videotape, make this film a modern horror classic. I really recommend you watch this movie. It's good fun and will scare you considerably. But number one on this list is a movie that I've never been able to watch all of because it freaks me out too much. It's that terrifying. The Exorcist, the 1973 adaptation of The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty, which came out in 1971. I know all about this movie. I've certainly seen parts of the movie. It's all over our culture now. You can't escape understanding bits of The Exorcist. But here's the summary. A young girl named Reagan becomes possessed by a malevolent spirit, prompting two priests to attempt a dangerous exorcism. The film builds tension as the demonic force grows stronger, threatening everyone around her. What really makes this movie great is its combination of shocking practical effects, chilling religious themes, and groundbreaking storytelling. It really makes this one of the most terrifying and influential horror films of all time, and I unabashedly crown it number one. So, what do you think? Do you agree with that take? How about the other movies on this top five? Have you seen them? Do you like them? Do you have comments? Use the comment box. Tell me what you think of these stories, the novels they're based on, anything about the list. I love to see your thoughts. While you're looking around there, you'll note the other ways you can interact with Zach and I, our social media links, an invitation to our Discord server, even our email. And we sure do hope you'll give us a like now for this episode, for the whole series. And if you haven't subscribed yet, take a moment to do so. We'll hope you stick around and enjoy what we just love putting out for you all here. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your October. Happy Halloween. And we'll talk to you next time.